I'm going to ask you to do something right up front so I don't forget, because I'm not a forgetful person, but sometimes I do. Get out your phones. Get out your phones and turn on your browser. No spaces. ApplegateForCongress.com. Make it a favorite. Robert, my campaign manager, is going to remind me at the end of my little presentation to refer back to the phones, but I want you to put it in your phone now. Okay. If you don't know, when they called the race on December 8th, the last congressional race called, 30 days, the last day that you have for the Registrar of Voters in the state of California to count the ballots and make a call. It was called, it was 1,620 votes, and we had already planned, because we had sat down with the DCCC, the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, and we announced that we were running that same day. So we're running, and this is why we're running. When I started back in, actually it was the 4th of July 2015, none of the clubs had this many people showing up for anybody. For anybody. Okay, I've talked to this club probably close to 5 or 6 times, 2015, 2016, and well, let's just say it's about a factor of 10 tonight, which is great. And I'm not taking it for granted. I know you're here because you're high information, informed voters. That's why you're here. I'm not going to tell you, I'm not going to talk down to you. I want to tell you that we're in a different position than we were on July 4th when I announced in 2015. Now, it was odd right at the first, because when I started making the rounds, everybody said, promise me you'll run again. Run again, I'm going to win this time. And we should have. We should have. 310,000 votes. That was almost an 80% turnout in the 49ers. That's huge. Note to everybody here, with your phones open and you're informed, intelligent voters, you can't count on 80% in a midterm election as Democrats. Check that box. Can't count on it. We're going to have to do some different things. All the way through the race. It was very nice at first, because I called them very gentle grandmothers who would show up at all the little coffees or the Democratic clubs, and they'd say, so you're running against Darrell Issa, the wealthiest man in Congress. And they'd pat me on the shoulder and say, that's nice. Okay, as a Marine Colonel, I don't get approached by grandmothers that often, patting on my shoulder and telling me that that's nice. But that was their gentle way of saying, you've got an awfully steep mountain to climb. An awfully steep mountain to climb. And they were right. When Robert Dempsey came to us, it was in August. It was after, out of nowhere, we had won 45% in the primary. And then actually people started asking, who's this Applegate guy? In San Diego, mostly. But Robert was one of the reasons why we were able to get as far as we did, as quickly as we did. He shows up and he says, well, Doug, you got a lot of built-in name recognition. I don't know how you did it. Our only problem is we've got 4 months to do 12 months of campaign. Now, why am I telling you that now? It's because Robert's still here, the staff is still here, and we got 21 months to run the campaign. It's a big difference. We have $4 million worth of name recognition built in. And we have a plan right now to do what Democrats should have never gotten away from, never should have fallen in love with television commercials, never should have fallen in love with direct mail, which a lot of people call political pornography, never should have said that that social media is the key to winning elections. Now you're saying, the guy just told me to put on my phone and put in ApplegateForCongress.com. I got another reason to doing that, because this is a different group. You're informed and you're intelligent voters. So, we got 21 months to do something different. What has Democrats always done well? Well, walking precincts is good. I had canvassers. You can have volunteers as canvassers. You can have paid canvassers. You can flood the streets. But there's something else. Do I have anybody here from Chicago or Philly? Okay, Philly in particular and Chicago, they know how to win elections, and they're going to, anybody that I picked, I'm not going to call anybody out, they know why they win elections. And it's not direct mail, it's not television commercials, and it's not social media. It's precinct captains. All right? Now, California would have to, if you started working today for the next 10 years, you aren't going to be able to turn out the same type of precinct captains that you have in Philly and Chicago. I grew up in Ohio, okay? And Philly and Chicago, and the 5 boroughs in New York, well, at least 4 of the boroughs in New York, they can get it done. It's somebody that knows the neighborhood, knows the people, all right? They know Joe down on the corner. They know exactly what to say to Joe to make sure he doesn't vote for a guy like Donald Trump. They'll go down and say, Joe, you've been a union man all your life. You're going to vote for a white-collar businessman? Joe ain't going to vote for that. They can go up to somebody else that's 50-50 voting Republican, and they can give them a different pitch. Say for a candidate like me, you could say, hey, he's a retired Marine colonel and he's a RAF vet. What else do you want? To that 50-50 Republican voter, that's all you need to say to him to get him to start working. Get him to start thinking. You're going to go talk to a union man, the precinct captain's going to go down and say, hey, Applegate grew up in a union family in the Midwest. He was born Democrat. He can go and talk to the different unions. And hey, if you look, last election, pick any of the Democrats south of Los Angeles, I had more union endorsements than anybody else. I've sued police departments throughout Orange County. I got Orange County Sheriff's Association to endorse me. All right? You have to have the right message for the right voter. And I'll tell you another, and by the way, just so you know, okay, and I'm not going to talk about Darrell Issa tonight, because I want you to listen to what we have to do to win. But I'm in the middle of a 2-week trial. 6 attorneys, about 6,000 pages of exhibits. It's a 12-hour-a-day job. And I can still come out and talk to people, and you shouldn't be stuck with a congressman who won't do face-to-face in town hall meetings and talk to them. Don't tell me it's the job. You can do it if you want to do it. And if you're afraid of doing it, that's why you have telephone town hall meetings where you get to select everybody that you talk to. I told everybody from the beginning of the campaign, hey, I'm in it to win, but if I get elected, you can come and talk to me. I may not agree with what you have to say, but I'm going to listen to you. And that's what democracy is all about. You're what democracy is all about, showing up here tonight. Now, the one thing I do want to finish up on with respect to precinct captains is, all I can do is give you a nutshell. If somebody hasn't voted by noon in a Philly precinct, the precinct captain calls them up and says, my watcher at the poll says you haven't voted yet. Look out your window. There's a car there. Put your coat on, get in the back seat. They're going to take you to the polls. There's other things that precinct captains do in Philly and Chicago. That's different. We aren't going to be able to duplicate that in California, but this is a new era. 60% of the ballots in the 49th were mail-in ballots. 60%. You know what that means? Precinct captains in the 49th can hold voter information nights where people come in, sit around the kitchen table. That's where everything happens in the middle class. Around the kitchen table. That's where I grew up. That's where it happened. And you talk about who you're going to vote for. And the precinct captains in the 49th are going to pass out that information with the right message to the right people, tell them who they can vote for that's in their self-interest, and then 30 days, during that 30-day period before the polls open, you're going to fill out those mail-in ballots, you're going to stuff them in a sealed envelope, and the precinct captain's going to say, I'm going to make sure they get in the mail and they get to the registrar of voters. 60% of the votes cast the last election were mail-in ballots. That's a 30-day process to educate voters. Now, I would love to have 10 minutes with every voter in the 49, just to talk to them about what's important to them. But I did some math. I didn't just tell you there was 310,000 votes cast in the last election, so you could say, wow, and we lost by basically half a percentage point to a guy that usually wins by 25 to 40,000 votes. There's many different reasons why that happened, but it's still a loss. You lose by one vote, you still lose. You still lose. But 310,000 votes. If I had 10 minutes with each one of them, well, the unfortunate thing is that's 3.1 million minutes. Okay? It's I've got the card in my pocket. I did this. That's about. It ends up being roughly 2,200 days. That's just under 6 years working 24/7. That's how long it would take. That's why you need precinct captains. One of the things that precinct captains can do, whether or not it's a young person, old person, male, female, doesn't make any difference. They know what to say to somebody to get them to do the right thing. Paid canvassers can't do that. Volunteers can't do that if they're not walking their own neighborhoods. That's why we've got about 150 already signed up, and that's one of the things that you're going to do with Applegate for Congress that you put on your phone tonight. The first thing that comes up is volunteer. And all you got to do is give us your email and your name, and there's a little box there, say you want to volunteer. We're going to start training in March. And people will say, there's about 150 have already. We've been pushing this out to meetings all over the 49th, all the way up to Laguna Beach. They're saying, when are we going to start training? When are we going to start training? We're going to start training in March. There's a lot that we can start doing now. Just real quick, very quick. A bunch of veterans said, we want to do a Veterans March. And I said, that's real good, except I think we're going to embarrass ourselves. And they said, what do you mean we're going to embarrass ourselves? I said, because the women did such a good job. And they did. I said, you know, I considered if we could get 50,000 veterans to Washington, that would be huge. But we aren't going to make a big dent on them all. The women pretty much clog D.C. and a lot of other cities. So we're going to be smart about it and working on something behind the scenes, and maybe around springtime we'll be able to do something that will put the right people in the right places to make a significant impact. But Those precinct captains, where's Vanessa? There she is. Okay, you probably stand out. You should recognize her face because she's been doing videos in front of Daryl's Dana Point office for about the last 2 or 3 weeks. And she came up and introduced herself to me and I said, I've been bragging about you for the last 2 or 3 weeks because there's a lot of things that we can do to make ourselves relevant to the community, relevant to congressional members now, but you need to video it, and you need to know how to video it, and then you need to know how to push it out on different social media platforms. Now, why? Because, hey, we're going to be stuck with who we got for the next 21 months. Actually, until you get sworn in, about the next 22 months. So that doesn't mean that you stop trying to have an effect on them. You need to make them listen to you. Right now, there's a huge swell down in San Diego that are real excited about this town hall that they've invited Daryl to, and he isn't going to show up. I'll bet my firstborn male child he will not show up at that meeting. But the people will be there, and I'm going to drop by. But it really, you know, if you're a progressive, if you're a liberal, if you're a Democrat, and those are 3 distinct groups, all right? I know because Orange County Register called me the colonel that went burning. That was great. That was great. But we need to find something to do because people are going to get tired of marching. And marching isn't going to be able to put bodies in the voting booth. And that's what we need to do. That's the goal. Everybody wants to say, hey, I would love to stop every one of the cabinet appointees. I would love to stop the present nominee to the United States Supreme Court because he's going to have a bigger effect than anybody in Washington for the next generation. But we don't have the votes. This is not magic, folks. Okay? I started out, before I was a lawyer, I was an infantry officer. It ain't magic. It's about boots and numbers. And putting more of us where the other guy isn't. You gotta win, you gotta get votes. We can scream, we can cry, we can yell, but it's not gonna stop what we've got right now. Not for the next 21 months. So what we have to start doing is talking to our neighbors. Telling them, you voted for Trump. This isn't working. This is not working. And you know what? Right now, there's still plenty of them who say, I voted for him, I want to change. Okay? Right now, the change they voted for is quickly becoming chaos. It's a dangerous chaos. And you need to start talking to them now, because I'm going to tell you something. I don't make too many predictions, but mark my words, in 21 months, all the people who said they voted for Trump, you won't be able to find them. It wasn't me, they'll say. That's the way it'll work. I got to tell you, you know, for any of us that, you know, are my age or older, I mean, my daughter came up to me and she asked me about 2 weeks ago, so the Russians burglarized the DNC. And I said, pretty much, that's what hacking is. You're breaking in. And she said, and it's Russians, right? I said, yes, it's Russians. It's Russian intelligence, no doubt about that. She said, well, wasn't it Cuban Americans that broke into the Watergate? Yeah. I said, that's it. It took Sam Ervin, the country lawyer, 3.5 years to bring down Richard Nixon in his second term. The same thing is going on now, except we're only 3.5 weeks into this. And there will be some Republicans that are going to peel off. McCain's going to peel off. Lindsey Graham's going to peel off. There's going to be others. Now, I'm not a great bipartisan type of guy. I'll just let that slip out. But it goes back to numbers. What are we going to do right now? Trust me, between showing up and videotaping ourselves in front of ICE's locked congressional offices, and if they're not locked, you'll get somebody that comes to the door and says, you can't come in, or you can't videotape this. Well, I want to make an appointment. No, you can't do it today. Or they'll want your name and they'll get back to you. And when you do that, you've got to videotape. But the other thing is, you have an opportunity and you have to act as citizens, and we have to do something about what's in the White House now. Because, speaking as a Cold Warrior, because I joined the Marine Corps, it was 3 months before Saigon fell. Okay, this was not a thing that college students went and did regularly then. It wasn't. I wanted to serve my country. I thought Vietnam was a bad war. I knew Iraq was a bad war. I went. We've got to do something for our country. We've got to become informed activists and do something. And that's what we're going to do with our precinct training. That's what's going to get things refocused on green energy. My pitch the whole time was, you know who wants green energy? One of the biggest dogs in the bar fight, in a bar fight. That's the Defense Department. It's the U.S. military that wants green energy and renewable energy. The Navy and the Marine Corps has been doing it for years. Healthcare. Look, if you have an insurance-based healthcare system, insurance companies are always going to take their profit. You would if you were business people. I got some businessmen I know. I've got some Democratic businessmen out there. You're going to take your profit. As long as you got the middleman in there, they're going to take their profit. That's what health insurance companies are. I am a single-payer health care. I also ran in a Republican district and barely lost. So my pitch was, you've got to deliver an effective VA healthcare system, because that was promised to my brothers and sisters, and it's the right thing to do. It's also the biggest single-payer healthcare system in the United States. If you don't make the VA healthcare system work, we'll never get to healthcare as a right for each and every U.S. citizen. Sometimes you've got to put sheep's clothing over the wolf if you're going to get into the Republican henhouse, particularly if you're running in the 49th. And once again, if we would have had a ground game earlier, Robert, we would have gotten to 16-21. Because we asked for, who eventually came in and ran our ground campaign in the last 3.5 weeks, we wanted her before Labor Day. We didn't get her for a lot of different reasons, but we wanted her. So, but she's here now. She's going to start on the precinct captain issues. But those precinct captains, those are the most important people. If you want to throw Darrell Issa out, or you want to throw out the next Trump, we have to talk to our fellow citizens. That's the only way it's going to happen. Because if I go and spend 6 years crammed into 24 months, and I could talk to each and every one of them, I'm probably going to lose as many votes as I gain. But somebody who knows that block, knows that precinct, will gain votes. Because Democrats don't lose in Philly and Chicago. And it's not because there's a machine, it's because they've got something that has always worked. That's what we want to have here. That's what we want to have for the next election cycle. And that's what we need to save our country, because we need votes on the Hill. And we need to change the White House. I'm going to stick around and answer any questions. But, Robert, what were you supposed to remind me? The website, applegateforcongress.com. Okay, there's two things. One, volunteer to be a precinct captain. Okay? That's both geographical, and we're also looking for internet circles. It's not just about going door to door, although that's very important. And we can't allow ourselves to wait till the last month and have paid canvassers come in, or even volunteers. That's something that needs to start soon. So go on the website that you've already put on your phone and volunteer. The other thing is, I've already been asked, do you have envelopes? And I said, well, yeah, I've got envelopes. This is it. You can donate, and I want everybody to know that Daryl outspent us a little bit, but we did pretty well. We did real well. But I'm going to let you in on a couple of secrets about that. Oh, and I got to tell you one other thing, because I live in San Clemente, so you get a lot of grief that in the 49th that Orange County lost the race. So remind me before I drop the mic, I got to tell you why you didn't lose the race. But $23 was the average donation to the campaign. All right? It wasn't big money. Now here's the other thing that you need to start talking to people about. 60% of our donors and dollars came from outside the state of California. Daryl's got big negatives, folks. But that's something that we need to change. Can we get those same people from out of state to get rid of Daryl? I think we can. But that's not going to be the key. The key is to get people here to do it. They have to put their money where their mouth is. And it's $23. Ask them to give $23 a month from now until next November 2018. And then we're talking about real money that doesn't hurt that much every month. So that's the other reason why, yeah, whenever we come to a meeting, I've always got envelopes, but it's right here. And I'm going to tell you one other advantage of this is, you know, the reporting is a lot easier when you get online, because you don't have to have a volunteer sitting at a computer inputting all the data for the FEC reports. So that's why I ask you to get out your phones. Okay, now I can get to the part about, you all want to know why Orange County didn't lose the race. You do, don't you? You want to know that? Yes. Okay, little history. I've been around here, you know, I came to Camp Pendleton, I lived in Dana Point, and up and down from Laguna Beach down to downtown San Diego since 1981. So I've been around, I know all these neighborhoods, and for the precincts in the cities in the 49th in Orange County, the best a Democrat has ever done is about 32 to 33%. Now, the registration is that slant. Look, the rest of Orange County is turning blue, and we're in South Orange County, and it's still pretty dark red around here. That could change, but if it doesn't change, we've shown that you can get results. 32 to 33%. Excuse me. is what a Democrat usually gets, particularly in a congressional race. We set a mark. We said we needed to win Orange County by we needed 38% in Orange County, and we needed 7% in San Diego precinct. And we thought it was doable based upon all the numbers we were getting. So, we got just under 40% in Orange County. We made our mark. Okay? Everybody wants to say, well, there was a 15,000 vote delta difference and an edge to Darrell, but that's what we needed to get here. We won San Diego by 6% and change, and the difference was 1,621 votes. So Orange County did not lose it.
You always say you lost by 1,600. You lost by 800.
Well, if we could have flipped them, yeah. If you can flip them, it could be 800. In other words, if 800 of those people just would have gone from R to D, then we only needed about 812. That's all we would have needed, no 811. But that's where we are. I'm not going quietly into the night. We're not going quietly into the night. There's a lot of work to be done. And if I don't see you looking on your cell phones before you leave here tonight, I know before you go to sleep that you're gonna do that. Oh, and one other thing, and none of this is going to cost too much, nor take that much time. And if it does take that much time, I can guarantee you, I think I'm standing in a room of people that would be proud and get a lot of joy in nagging people to vote the right way come 2018. But the other thing you need to do is to send out that link, Applegate for Congress, to 5 people that you know probably don't have it. Because I can't tell you how many times people have come up after the election and said, you came so close. I didn't think you had a chance. We've got to push down those numbers that say, I didn't think you had a chance. You need to convince people, no, it's possible. But the only way you do that is to get eyeball to eyeball and not, scale your message up. So one message goes to 10,000 people. You've got to take your message at many different layers and scale it down to one-on-one, and you put down the card that's going to make that voter, make that constituent of the 49th say, there's a reason to vote for Applegate, and this is it. And you're the people that can get it done. I'm going to hang around. I'm going to answer questions. Okay? I'm real proud, to live in South Orange County. I've lived here a long time off and on. And I think that we can change the way people automatically think that it's just Rock River Republicans that live down here. And you're the people in this room tonight that can make the biggest change. It's not really us. It's not really the campaign staff. You can do more in your precinct than we ever could. You end up being a captain, and you have 5 people that I can talk to and change their votes. I'm happy to do it. I got 21 months to do it. We're not going to go away. Nobody wants us to go away back on Capitol Hill. As a matter of fact, I went back for the new member orientation. I got a call late one night at the Standing Order and said, Doug, the new member orientation is Monday night. This was before Thanksgiving. And he said, so it starts Monday, so you're going to be there. I said, I'm going to be there, Stan. No problem. And we went. I was going to be on the Armed Services Committee. Already had negotiated that. While everybody was picking out their offices of the freshman class, I was going around actually telling them how we're going to run the next campaign, just in case it doesn't land right. And we just missed it. I'm in the freshman class picture. I'm right behind Jimmy Panetta. He's from the Central Coast. And I like Jimmy. He's a great guy. He's a Naval Reserve intelligence officer, went to Afghanistan twice, fine young man. His father is one of the most impressive people that I know. But Jimmy was inside the row below me, and I said, if I stand on the end, they could Photoshop me out, so I'm going to walk over here and stand behind Jimmy. So I'm there. But I'm not going to get the 2 years seniority. But with people like you, I'm going to start getting the seniority in 2018. Thank you very much.
Hard act to follow. Anyway, thank you so much everyone for coming tonight. It really means a lot to all of us on the board, and it's wonderful to see so many faces here. Please, please, sign up to be a member, sign up to volunteer, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We're at facebook.socdc, and Twitter is South County Democrats? South County Dems. Picky. So follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If you'd like to blog about tonight, we're using the hashtag #FlipThe49. Anyway, thank you so much for coming. Volunteer forms.
I'll collect it from you on the way out.
Volunteer forms go to Barb. If you'd like to run, once again, if you'd like to run for one of the club offices,